Hello, 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 and welcome to Chewing the Fat with Friends. And today we have lovely Carrie Brightwell. And oh my
Hi.
gosh, have we got some information here on Carrie? So I just thought
I don't know. What have you got? I don't know. Don't you say it out loud. There's a lot I don't want people to know.
little secrets that Carrie's been hiding. Okay, so Carrie is your dream life activator and happiness warrior. With a fresh, relatable voice, she makes spirituality simple and accessible. Carrie is here to help you reclaim your power, reconnect to your higher self, uncover your true dreams, and boldly step into your purpose. Wow, doesn't this sound amazing? So, blending honesty, rawness, humour, and a touch of magic, she guides you to transform your life into one filled with happiness, fulfillment, and meaning. Carrie doesn't just talk about change, she inspires it through action, offering practical guidance to help you become the conscious creator of a life you bloody love. Oh, and did we mention she's also a professional Muay Thai fighter, proving that courage and resilience aren't just words, they're a way of life.
Oh, but don't stop at the Muay Thai. She's also a spiritual coach and teacher, a shamanic healer, a workshop facilitator, a hike leader, an international public speaker, and the creator of Art That Heals, which is Reiki-infused MANDALA products.
Yeah.
What's there you don't do? That sounds really fascinating.
Sleep. I don't sleep.
You don't sleep.
That's what I don't do.
And plus, you get probably because you're jet setting around all the time and dealing with.
Yeah, I'm wondering what time zone I'm in. Yeah.
So right now you're in Thailand, right?
I am in Thailand. I'm in the north in Chiang Mai. Yeah. This is where I consider to be home. Yeah. And I've been here for a week.
I've been to Chiang Mai and I spent about a month there actually, learning Thai massage, and it felt like that to me too. It's an interesting energy there, but it just felt like home. It felt like a good place to stop for a while. It was lovely.
Yeah,
So
I love it. I love Thailand.
How long have you been living in Thailand?
About 7 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, long time.
You're clearly from the UK.
I am. Can you tell?
Yeah, so tell us the story. What brought you, from the UK to Thailand? And
2016, I realised that my life was just really, really miserable. I went through quite a traumatic time, just realising that, I was living a lie. I was stuck in the matrix. I didn't want to be in the corporate job anymore. Every day was agony in terms of anger and misery and hatred and everything like that. So I quit my job and I travelled, and then that was it. That was 2016. And then I actually, I actually came to Thailand. I mean, I've been to Thailand a number of times, but I came to study yoga. So I studied the science of yoga. So I'm 1,000 hours trained in that. You didn't have that on your bio. I'm 1,000 hours in the science of yoga. And then I stayed in Thailand to live and work. And then I found Muay Thai, and then just haven't really done anything with the yoga since.
Oh, right. So tell us about Muay Thai. Like, I know a bit about it. Isn't it almost like I want to say Thai fighting meets cage fighting. For some reason, I see big cages, but it's not really like that, is it?
We don't have cages, no, but we do have a ring. Muay Thai is obviously it's the national sport of Thailand. It's actually the deadliest martial art that there is, and it's called the Art of Eight Limbs. It's nicknamed the Art of Eight Limbs because we have 2 fists, we have 2 elbows, we have knees, and we have legs to kick. We've also got feet to teep with, so I think it should call it 10, but there we go. But yeah, it's the deadliest because we incorporate the knees and the elbows as well. So yeah, that's what it is. That's what I do. That's what I fight. And in terms of the professional fighting, because we go in completely unprotected. So we don't have headgear, elbow pads, knee pads. We have nothing. It's completely unprotected when we go into fight. Yeah.
Right. And so how did you go from yoga to that? I'd love to know.
So I was actually swinging in my hammock one day, and I was writing in a list of all the things that I hadn't yet done in Thailand, because this was at the beginning of COVID, right? And I didn't know if Thailand were going to let us stay or if they were going to kick us out. And I was like, shit, well, what are all the things that I wish I should have done whilst I was in Thailand that I haven't yet done? So I started to write a list of all these things that I really wanted to do. And Muay Thai was at the top. So I was like, all right, I'll go and give that a go then. So I went to a Muay Thai class. I don't know what else was on the list because I never looked back. And that was when I was 40. I took my first Muay Thai class at 40 years old.
Wow.
I took my first fight at the age of 41. I won my first belt at the age of 42. I'm now 44 and I've got 4 belts.
Wow.
So you cannot tell me that it's too late to start something. And everyone thinks that I'm absolutely crazy, right? Because obviously when you start a sport or when you're doing it professionally or you're fighting or whatever, they expect you to be giving up by, I don't know, 30, 35 or whatever. But no, fuck you.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
what's your secret? Are you just seriously, you started this and you just thought, wow, this is what I've been waiting for all my life, and it gives you some miraculous energy? Or like, I mean, because I would have thought that training for that would be brutal.
It is brutal. It is. Yeah. We train 6 days a week. And I get to choose. I either train 1 time a day or I can train 2 times a day. And each training session can last anywhere up to 3 hours per session. So, yeah, and you're doing it I was just telling you, it's about 40 degrees here this week. It's been ridiculously hot. Oh, no, sorry. My phone said it was 38, but it felt like 40. I mean, to me, that's 40 degrees, if you ask me. There's no 38 about it. So, yeah, it can be really, really grueling, really tiring. But what keeps me through, what's my secret? Passion. Like when I found the thing, right? And I'm not saying Muay Thai is the only thing. I'm sure if I tried other things, there would be other things that do this for me. But what Muay Thai does for me is, there's a couple of things, right? First of all, it's my outlet for the warrior energy that I have. I am so passionate about anchoring into the necessary energy to help us stand up and fight and say no to the things, to the structures, to the people, to the organizations, to whatever it is that is saying and telling you that you need to be in a certain way. And I'm so passionate about anchoring into that energy so that you have the power to stand up and say no to that, so that you can then have the power to say yes to what it is that you do want, so that you can step into your sovereignty, so that you can become the conscious creator of the life that you want. And when I engaged in Muay Thai, it was just this channel for this energy that I didn't ever know what to do with. You know, I was always the one that put my hand up when no one else wanted to ask the question. I was always the one that went for student representative. I was always the one that got into the arguments that no one else wanted to have, even though I was ostracized, everyone else was kept included and stuff. I'm the one that always stands up for other people. There was always something in me that needed to stand up and say no. And then, as I said, engaging in Muay Thai, it's such a beautiful and channeled and gracious and feminine way of channeling that energy that, yeah, I was just hooked. And it allows me to feel my power, to feel my strength, to feel the warrior. Yeah. In a, as I said, in a very gracious, feminine, and respectful way, because this leads me into point number 2, which is Muay Thai is my biggest spiritual teacher.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Sure it is. So can we delve into that, and also can you elaborate a little bit further on how you see it as a very feminine art and has such a feminine energy?
So when Muay Thai is approached in the correct way, with the respect that it deserves, because it is a very spiritual thing. Here in Thailand, it's certainly spiritual. It is their national sport. There's spirituality all around it. You know, even just when you go into the ring, and the fighters will perform the waikru, which is the respect dance at the beginning of the fight. That is a show and a demonstration of respect for the sport, respect for your teachers, respect for your family, respect for the king, and also respect for the spirits that you know that are involved and that will protect you whilst you are in the fight. I mean, where does Muay Thai come from? It was originated as a form of protection in war. You know, when you've got no weapons left and you are literally hand-to-hand combat, what do you have? So that's how they developed the sport of Muay Thai. So they pray for their protection when they go into war. And that's what you do. That's what you see, the waikru at the beginning of every fight. So just by that, it's very respectful, it's very spiritual. And when you observe two very talented and respectful fighters engage in this dance, it's so gracious. And you'll have and when you go into the ring, the reason why they like to pair you the same is because it's out of respect. You are in that ring in order to challenge your opponent so that they have the opportunity to demonstrate their skill. If you don't challenge them, they can't show their skill, and vice versa. So that's why you want to be paired at the same level, so that it is an equal dance. And the reason why I see it as feminine is because when it is performed well, it's so gracious and so stunning. And I have this tattoo here on my arm. It actually says "Stand like mountain, move like water," but I've had it translated into Thai because it's a Chinese proverb.
Right, yeah.
And I got this done very early in my Muay Thai days because it's the epitome of Muay Thai. You have to have so much confidence and strength and unwavering foundation, but that will never win you the fight. You will never win a fight just through brute force. I mean, I have, but the idea is to not win the fight through just brute force, right? You need to be able to adapt, to pivot, to flow, to move, to allow the energy to move. If you're rigid and stuck, the energy can't move, so you can't have power. Power comes from the, you know, that's how you knock your opponent out, with the power. And you need to pivot, you need to move out the way, you need to be able to see, you need to be able to counter, etc. And that's where the flow comes in. And that, to me, is the epitome of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need that foundation. We need that strength, that warrior that I said, but you also need to be able to flow and move.
Yeah, no, your rationale for getting into it was very moving. It moved me. That's what and I really feel we all need to be standing in and stepping into our lion, you know, our warrior, our lion mode. And taking a stand for things, you know, no longer letting things slide, letting things go, and thinking that someone else is going to say it or take care of it as well.
Not settling is what I say. You don't settle for the plate that you think you've been served.
So
because that is a choice.
So do you think so what came first, Muay Thai or the shamanic work, or do they just sort of mold together? It sounds like they do.
I actually found them both at the same time. I found them both at the same time. No one's ever asked me that, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I found them at the same time. I mean, like I said, sorry, what was that?
Nothing. No? It might have been Karen's little thing.
Oh, her little gremlin. You warned me about the gremlin. Don't worry, I fight gremlins. Well, yeah. So the shamanic stuff. Yeah. What came first? I mean, I was always into. I was always into yoga. I was always already studying yoga. So my spiritual path, if you like, had already started. And then I'm just trying to think what actually happened. I started to train. No, I met the shaman first. So I was here in Thailand and I went on a course here, and it was the dragons that got me. Like he was doing dragon magic. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm really interested in that. I've loved dragons. I've always loved dragons. Oh, I want to go to the dragon magic. But he was doing another body electronics course at the beginning. And so that's where I met the shaman. And I just looked at him one day and I said, you and I are going to work together. And he said, yes, you're right, we are.
Oh,
and that was that. that was that. And now his name is Peter Aziz, and I work alongside him. I work for him. I work with him. He's one of his students. And so my spiritual and my shamanic side just went through the roof. But at the same time, in parallel, I started to train Muay Thai. And so I was seeing the mirrors, because the other reason why I do Muay Thai, it is the mirror. The reason why it's my spiritual teacher is because it's a complete mirror of life. Every time I go to a training session or every time I step into the ring, I am presented with a version of me that I get to choose whether I stick with or whether I transmute it.
Ooh.
It presents to me whatever blocks me in training or whatever blocks me in the ring, or whatever even blocks my physical ability that day is showing me and mirroring me what is blocking me in life. And I get to choose. And you don't necessarily, it's one thing to know something up here, but you need to feel it in here, right? And you do need to put yourself into scenarios. It doesn't have to be Muay Thai. And this is why I've created the Brighter Hikes, right? But you do need to put yourself into a scenario where you are taken out of your norm, where you are taken out of your comfort zone, where you are pushed to your edge so that you can see how your mind truly works.
Yeah.
And then only then, when you see and really feel it as an observer of it, rather than being completely consumed by it and believing that you are it, when you become the observer of it, only then do you get to choose, consciously choose what you do with that. And that's what fighting does for me.
I can see that, and I can totally relate to that. And but what just came through for me quickly at the end there was like, how does that differ when you're saying how your mind is going to respond to this level up, if you like, this comfort zone boundary that needs to be stretched? How does that differ from when you're in like a fight flight response, like when you feel your body feels like you're in danger? Have you ever been in that type of situation, and is it different? Does your mind kick in the same way, or does your limbic mind kick in? Have you ever experienced that when in the ring?
No. No, because that's why we train so much.
In your mind state, and you understand your
you train to the extent that you do train, so that it all becomes muscle memory. So the idea of when you go into the ring, there is no mind. Yeah, right, got you. Everything is instinctual. Everything is automatic. It's muscle memory. And whilst you do have to think, you do have to calculate, you should already know, oh, this has happened, so I know I do this. Oh, this has happened, I've got a choice, I can do this or this one's better. But I was going to have it. So yeah, when you've done enough training, it gets to the point where you don't need to be in fight or flight. And the point of the training as well is about preparing yourself to be in that scenario, to be under pressure like that, so that you don't have to panic.
So is it one of the martial arts that's quite laden with the rules? Like you say, there's certain ways to respond to certain.
No.
Things.
No, so the only thing you're not allowed to do is kick them off if their hands are on the floor, you're not allowed to touch them. That's the only thing. Right. Yeah. Cool. Or if they're in an 8 count. Otherwise it's free for all.
So you've been doing the shamanic stuff for about the same amount of time, about 4 years, was it? Yeah.
4 or 5 years. I think it's about 5 years by now. I don't know. Where are we? Who are we?
And so what are you doing with that now? Are you still studying with that? You're still a student? You're still
forever a student. Yeah, forever a student. It's not like the way that we work, it's not like a traditional course. I mean, I remember saying to Peter once, I was like, would you consider me to be an apprentice? And he was like, I was like, how long is an apprenticeship then? He's like, about 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's nothing quick, but yeah, just when I accepted the path of shamanism and I accepted the path of magic, that's when it all started to unfold. And that's when I mean, I don't know how you say it. My abilities, my skills, I don't know what it was I was here to do. They all started to present themselves. They all started to unfold one by one, and they continue to unfold as and when you're ready, right? So yeah, forever a student, but always a practitioner as well.
Yeah. Amazing. So what's so tell us a bit about Bright Hikes, because that's something you've created recently, isn't it? So and I love how your motivator for that is to really push people into out of their comfort zone, you know. But you've got the spiritual side of it as well. So tell us a bit about your Bright Hikes and, you know, what's that all about?
I mean, so there's kind of like a two-pronged approach as well. There can be the challenging hikes, right, which is ideal, but there's also the shorter ones. And the Bright Hikes are a cross between, it's like a spirituality hike, if you like. It's a blend of the power, utilizing the power of nature, utilizing the challenge of the hike, and blending it in with the coaching and the healing. When you put all of these three things together, you get a very, very potent container for the ability to expand spiritually and within the mindset as well, and physically. But that's never the aim. I'm not here to get you fit. I'm not here to get you skinny. That's not what I'm doing. I'm here to help you advance spiritually and in life. Because when you go into nature herself is just so powerful. And we evolved to work in tandem, to work in symbiosis with nature. But we are so far removed from nature these days. But when you do go to nature, you don't go to nature because of the science or because of you've been told to go. You go to nature because of the way that nature makes you feel. And there's a reason why you feel the way you do once you've been in nature. And there is science behind it. But again, I teach people about the science, but that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in people feeling the effects of nature, the power that she holds, and how to work with her. Because there's magic in that, right? But nature is the only place where we actually engage all of our five senses. And so therefore, nature is the only place where we feel fully alive. So therefore, it is one of the most obvious places where we are going to more easily connect to our divinity and to our spirituality. And when we are living in modern life, right, your brain can only process approximately 4 things at any one time. So you're so busy doing which shall I choose? What shall I choose? What shall I notice? What shall I focus on? Because we've got so many things going on, right? When you're in nature and you remove those distractions, you don't need to waste energy on deciding what to focus on. So therefore, it automatically allows you to go into higher order thinking, and it automatically allows you to go deeper into the feeling. And so therefore, you naturally do feel more connected to yourself, to the nature, to the divinity that exists around you. And you see yourself in the scheme of everything, macrocosm, microcosm. And it's here when we don't have the distractions, yet we have the prompts and the triggers. If it's done correctly, it's in these scenarios that you really get to truly learn who you really are. You get to reconnect to who you truly are, what you really, really want in life. And from there, you can make decisions that are right for you. So I put
it described like that. That makes complete and utter sense. You know, from the senses point of view and creating the space for the higher thoughts to come through. Yeah. And a bright hike, I never do things normally. So whenever I take people on the bright hike, I guide them and I lead them on this journey, this discovery journey, whether it be like a 3-hour hike, let's say, or whether it be a full weekend retreat. I guide people on this spirituality journey to help them come to whatever conclusion or epiphany or whatever it is, whatever the theme is with regards to this container that we're creating. But I always add a touch of magic too. So helping people to understand and be empowered by realizing the science behind why they're feeling the way they do, but also adding the touch of magic and the mystical to it to accelerate and embellish everything that they're feeling and the expansion that they can create for themselves. Can you give an example? Like
Yeah. So for example, depending on which piece of land we might be on or in, I will work with the spirits of that land. I will converse with them. I will understand the energies that are surrounding us in that land. And then I have the ability, as long as I'm given the permission, I have the ability to share that energy with the people so that they then have that energy empowered or attuned into their energetic field. So when they leave, they still have that essence within them, the energy of the spiritual or the sacred place that we were in. Or I can attune people to certain plant spirits or anything like that.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
And then, and how do you, from a more practical point of view, how do you sort of help them get out of their head and into the whole journey, especially with those longer ones, right? Because people must get in their head still, especially if they find it challenging.
I mean, that's kind of the point, right? I kind of want them to go into their heads. I want them to. So what I will do is I help people understand the difference between story and feeling. So if I say to you, how does this make you feel? So much of the time, people will come out with, oh, well, I did this and then I did that. And then they said this and then they said that completely didn't answer the question. How does it make you feel? We are disconnected from feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it's only through feeling can we see the reality of the situation for us and make the decision about how it is that we do want to feel. And then by process of elimination, you can then reorganize your life in order to enable you to feel the way that you want to feel. But first of all, you have to know how it is that you're feeling. And feeling and welcoming emotions is the key to transmuting any scenario or any trapped trauma or emotion. Because what happens is we are here as spiritual beings. We are here to create, experience, and discreate. We create the experience so that we can experience the energy. And then once we've felt that energy fully with enthusiasm, then it discreates and we no longer need to feel it because we are the sliver of, we're a stream of consciousness. And that's why we're here. We decided to manifest here in this human body to experience life as a human, to share those experiences up so that all consciousness can know that it is utter bliss. Because you can't know you're something until you've experienced something else. You don't know you're a fish in the sea until you've left the sea. So we're here to experience. Now, there are certain experiences that we will say, I don't like that. I don't want that. So what happens is when this energy is flowing, right, and it's free flowing and we're welcoming it, if we do like the experience, that energy flows through to us. It goes up into the brain. It goes through an organ that's called the corpus callosum, which is actually a tube with a twist. And then when it twists on itself, when it turns back on itself, that energy cancels itself out. So the experience is done, and that's called discreation. We no longer need that energy. It's done. So that's how we transmute that. When we don't like the experience, what happens is we stop the flow of energy. But energy doesn't just disappear, right? So that energy then turns into protein molecules, and those protein molecules crystallize and they form crystals in the DNA. And this is where you get your trapped trauma, your stored emotions. It's crystallized energy. And what happens is, remember, we're here to create, experience, and discreate. Well, that trapped energy is like, you're meant to be feeling me. And my job is your job is to feel me. So I'm going to keep trying to reappear so that you get to feel me because I need to discreate. And so what happens is this is where we become the unconscious creator of our lives. That energy, what that does is we're surrounded by limitless potential, right? All of the infinite possibilities that exist. But because that energy is in you, stuck in you, saying you need to experience me, it will pull forward the opportunities, the potentials, the possibilities, the scenarios, the people, the shit that we didn't want in the first place. It will keep reattracting it because your job is to feel that emotion. And that's how you become
the job.
That's how you become the unconscious creator, right? And so you unconsciously create your future if you're not willing to feel these emotions. Now, when you are willing to feel the emotion, right, that then has the opportunity to go back up to the brain, cancel itself out, go, and then you become the conscious creator of your life. You get to choose which future potential you'd bring forward. And so I teach people the difference between story and feeling emotions. And so then when we go on the hike, I trigger people. I pose questions. I set meditation. Like as we're going through the hike, it's not just a bimble either, right? I actually, as I said, give life coaching questions. I give food for thought. I get them to do meditations. I get them to do certain activities as we're going through the hike to trigger this thought process, to trigger the feelings, to trigger the emotional release so that they can see how it's all working, how it's all trapped. And so that they have the opportunity to release that trapped trauma, those trapped emotions. I've forgotten what the question was. What's the question?
Right. It was a brilliant answer to the question, which is really cool. So it's basically around what Bright Hikes do for on Bright Hikes and how it really. And I think that's a brilliant way of, because I always say, you know, we're spiritual beings having an emotional experience.
Yes.
So that we can feel. And as you're quite rightly say, you know, we've been taught actually through ancestral ways of not feeling, especially us Brits, you know, we've been taught not to feel or express how we're feeling. And so, you know, having this work is so very valuable. And so, okay, so we could speak all day, Carrie.
We could.
Because it's such a fascinating sort of subject line. But basically, right, let's take it right back, is because you have volunteered to come along to our Food and Frequencies network to run at least one workshop. And I can see there's going to be multiple. So because you've got so much to share. So would you like to sort of share a little bit about, because obviously you can't take us on a hike because we're on Zoom, you know, so.
I work in very magical and mysterious ways. I can do many things.
I'm sure you do.
Take you on a journey through the forest. It'd be wonderful. So, yeah, I can see that. So
what was the question?
Right. What your first workshop for Food and Frequencies coming up soon?
Yeah.
So would you like to share with the listeners as to where you're going to be taking us? You know.
Yeah. And I remembered what your question was, Deb. So you're on this side of me. That's why I'm pointing over there.
Oh, right,
and the question was, how do I get people out of their heads?
Yes.
Well, I get them into their feelings. I get them into their hearts. I get them into the feeling. Yeah. But they do need to see. They need to be in their head because they need to observe the head. They need to observe how that's working so that they can make a new choice and help them release whatever it is that's keeping them stuck in those cycles. And this leads into your question, Karen, because for me, with Bright Hikes and pushing people to that challenge, it also gets them to see how everything is working. So for me, when I approach a hike or a walk, there are 3 key pillars of being out in nature. Number 1 is the spirituality aspect. So I go hiking to help people expand themselves spiritually, to gain a stronger sense of connection to themselves, to divinity, etc., right? And to see themselves more as a spiritual being. Then there is the mindset, observing how the mind limits you. And so how do you give yourself the opportunity to observe that so that you can change it? And then the third aspect, obviously, is the physical aspect. You can't go on a hike if you're not physically capable of going on a hike. So there are 3 key pillars. And so for me, you think, oh, physical is the most important. Absolutely not. No, you can have a bimble around your garden if you want and still do a Bright Hike. You can choose to go to a park, but still incorporate these 3 elements. So therefore, I consider it to be a Bright Hike. So the most important pillar for me is the spirituality aspect. So in the first workshop, what I want to do is I want to help people, those people who are seeking connection, seeking expansion, I want to help them understand how to get out in nature with purpose, intention, and impact. As I said, it's the only place where we engage all five senses. It's the place where we feel our truest divinity. And so I will be giving tools and techniques for people to be able to, so you said I couldn't take you on a hike, I bloody can. But I'll be giving people tools and techniques that they can use for themselves with some basic understanding of how we've evolved with nature. Once you've got that empowerment and you've got the tools, you can go out in nature and you can start doing this for yourself. Because I want people to feel boosted with enthusiasm and energy and vitality and a zest for life when they come back from being in nature. Because remember, we go out to nature not because of anything other than the way that it makes us feel. So yeah, everything starts with energy. Everything starts with a feeling. And so this is for those who want to connect, those who want to expand, those who want to feel something different, and those who want to gain some tools so that they can go out into nature with intention.
I love it. I love it. And this is, and we're actually really passionate about, aren't we, Karen, about the turn back the clock challenge and bringing an aspect into it. We actually stipulated a number of times, especially in nature, knowing full well that we already get that connection in nature quite effortlessly, but being able to basically 10x it is kind of what you're saying, isn't it? Tune in even more, use the tools, be super conscious around it, and then you can create even more impact from that.
Yeah. And, I know, I've studied breathing and prana and all sorts of things. Again, I could talk for hours, even just about breathing in nature, the purpose of breathing in nature, why you would do it, the benefits of it. I could talk for hours about this stuff. But I want people to, so that's why I want to give people tools and techniques that they can use to then be motivated to go outside and give it a go. And I'm going to put myself on the commitment here. I also want to be able to people who can't physically be with me to go on a bright hike. I still want them to experience bright hikes, right? So my intention is to create, and I do say, don't go into nature with your ear pods.
Yeah,
it completely defeats the object. Like, however, on this occasion, I want you in my ears. So that when you go for a walk around the park, or if you decide to actually go out on a Saturday morning and go for a nice little 2 or 3 hour walk or hike or whatever it is, or if you decide to go outside of a mountain for the day, entirely up to you, you've got me in your ears guiding you on that little hike.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll give it a go.
Oh, that's awesome. So that might be a little thing you offer our.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Those that come to the workshop, they can have that little meditation or whatever you want to call it, the little guided hikeness from me. So they can go out there. But that and other tools as well. I'll be sharing other tools with them.
It's amazing.
Are you going to coin the phrase guided hikeness?
Yeah, do you like it? The guided hikeness. I mean, you want
guided hikeness.
What did we call it? I don't know. It's a it's a guided, the guided hikeness bit.
Yeah. We've got quite a few members in our network who are hiking already or wanting to. So yeah, that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and like I said, there's the spirituality aspect, which is what I'll focus on in the first one. But then you can look at the mindset thing. I learned just like with fighting, I learned so much about myself when I'm out for a hike. Like, I realised that once all the snacks are gone, that's it. The hike is shit. It's like, shit, am I that food orientated? But it made me see how I use food as a reward, right? It's like, oh, God, yeah. But I love going up. I absolutely hate going down. So what is it about the down that I don't like? I like going in cycles. I don't like going on a backwards and forwards hike. Well, what is that about? Repetition. Oh, I don't like repetition. You get to see, again, the mind aspect of it. And like one of my clients who joined me on the last Bright Hike when we did the Tongariro crossing, anyone who's done it will know that last bit,
killer.
In the mind.
Yeah.
Don't even think about the knees, right? It's such a grueler is that a word? Grueler. Anyway, it's such a grind on the mind. And she said to me that she was like, oh yeah, I had no worries about the fitness and blah, 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 blah. But one of her revelations was, as she was going down, she realized like, oh, where in life when something is repetitive and I'm in a little bit of discomfort, do I decide to check out and not do it and not finish it and not get the rewards at the end because I'm bored? But So again, we can see through the action, we get to see how we as human beings operate and how, well, if it's stopping me here, where else is it stopping me? Yeah. So then it would be, the other workshop I'd like to do is learning about how you can utilize nature to help you see how the mind works.
Wow. Amazing. I'm so excited for these. So you better, if you're not a member, you might want to join us. We've got some juicy stuff coming up.
You definitely will want to join this one, that's for sure. I'm excited about this one. It's going to be fun.
Oh, definitely.
Me too.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely amazing.
And don't worry, there's no Muay Thai necessary. No one has to fight Muay Thai.
Oh, but you know what? I'm super interested in that too. But I mean, yeah, I might have to come to Thailand for that, eh?
No, absolutely not. It's everywhere. It's all over New Zealand.
Yeah, no, that's very true. That sounds like fun checking out. I am actually going to be starting some form of martial art very soon with my family. There's a Rob Morrison who will be bringing on and having a chat as well in the future. Is doing something locally around here where families get to work out together and it's martial arts and movement. And I've always been drawn to doing it, and still yet at age 52 haven't done it. So I've done a bit of kung fu, but that's why I was really resonating with what you were saying about that warrior energy that it calls to within you, because I have a feeling I would thrive doing a martial art as well.
You know, one of the things that I always start, the majority of my clients, I say the majority, I encourage my clients to work on, right, is to write 2 lists. The first list, and this is all about getting to know yourself, getting to be able to create boundaries, getting to start to increase serotonin and dopamine so that you can start to see potential and possibility in life, so that you can start to dream for what you truly want and start to get into contact with what you truly want and who you truly are. So the first list that we write is our love list, where you start to write down 20 things that you love. And then you start to bring those things into your life. You make a commitment to bring them into your life more regularly. Now, if you can't get to 20, that's absolutely fine. All that means is that you've kind of just lost yourself a little bit, as we do in life along the way, especially if you've got kids, you've got partners, you know, your boundaries start to meld and mold into theirs, right? And you forget who on earth you are. I mean, if you've got, high-powered jobs or whatever. So we start to write the second list, which is our curiosity list. What am I curious about? What have I always wanted to try that I never did? What is it that when Jane has a day off and she goes off and does that thing, I get really envious of? What's the thing that Joe said about doing that I really wanted to have a go, but we just never got round to doing it? So your curiosity list, all of those things that you as a kid wanted to try but never allowed yourself for whatever reason. And if you had a day off or a week off and money was no option, what would you do? So you start to ask yourself all these questions and you write down all of the things that you're curious about, that you're envious of, that you're jealous of. Why? Because there's something in it for you. We follow the feeling. So I talk about feelings a lot. We follow the feeling. And when you start to write down your curiosity list, so this martial arts thing would be on there for you, Deb, because you said, I've got a feeling that there's something. Well, that's your higher self. That's your soul speaking to you, saying, hello, there's something here. I'm making you curious about it because you want to go and try it. There's something in it for you. Yeah. So we write our curiosity list and then we make the commitment to try the things on our curiosity list. That's what happened to me with Muay Thai, right? Yeah. And then by process of elimination, you can transfer the things from your curiosity list over to your love list, if you like, if you find that you love it, as long as you're committed to bringing that into your life on a regular basis. And what does this do? It gets us to know ourselves better. It gets us to connect to our higher selves better. It takes us on our path to purpose. What it is that we're here to, because ultimately we're all here to have fun. That's
Yes,
it. It's to have
exactly. Yes,
fun.
exactly. Have fun and experience, joy.
Yes, exactly.
And
Exactly.
fun. Yes, the high
So,
vibrational things.
and how can you have fun if you don't know who you are? If you don't know what you
Oh,
like, if you don't know what you love?
mm.
So you need to start writing these lists and start allowing yourself to explore yourself and to expand yourself through joy.
Yeah. And also shut that little voice up that's going to be saying, oh, but you're not going to have the time for this because of blah, blah, blah. Because, yeah, we've all been programmed to hustle and grind and stay busy and distracted. And actually, this is precisely the stuff we should be making all the time in the world for. It's the most important thing. It's the most important thing.
Indeed, because when you expand is when you are connecting to those happiness hormones, when you can see potential and possibility, you can see more for your life, you can start to dream bigger, and you start to create more and bigger and better things for you. You see that it is possible. And then slowly and slowly, so you expand. Before you know it, your life looks very different. But this time it's one that you love.
Yes, exactly.
Not one that you've been sold.
Yeah, exactly. Or convinced or programmed into thinking that's what your life should look like. That's what success looks like, etc. Yeah.
Indeed. And this is what all my work is about. You know, this is what all my work is about. They're always dreaming bigger, helping people to understand the process of being able to create the vision of what it is that they want. And then actually taking the right action to go and get it, which requires courage and requires warrior energy. So I help people connect to that warrior energy, not necessarily through training and fighting, but just understanding what that feels like, what that looks like, and when and how to bring it in so that they can create a life that they love and not just live in this unconscious cycle of shit.
Yeah, amazing. Because when I looked at you, all the things you do and all these skills, they seemed quite disparate, but I can so see how you've tied them all together. And it's pretty exciting to see you living the life of your dreams. You've created this completely for yourself, and what you have to offer people, I can see it. You're so passionate. You're very inspiring. In fact, I think we need to have another one of these interviews, Karen, don't you think? Because there's more to touch on here with Carrie.
Absolutely, Carrie. And I think this is actually a perfect time for us to finish, because otherwise we'll be here for hours. And I know the listeners probably have limited amounts of time, but I'm so excited about your workshop. And so if you're not members of Food and Frequencies, come and join us, because you've got inspiring women and men like Carrie who've got so much to share. And we're very excited and very blessed to have you be joining us. And so thank you, Carrie, for your time today. And
you're welcome.
Looking forward to it this week.
Yeah.
It's been a fabulous discussion. Thanks heaps, Carrie. I'm really looking forward to the workshop. And the next time we get you in, we'll talk a bit more about the Bright Hikes, because you will be coming back to New Zealand at the end of the year.
Yay!
There's going to be opportunities for people to get together and go on one of your Bright Hikes. So
yeah, doing different locations this time, different durations as well. For those people that don't want a full day hike or a full retreat weekend, whatever, different options, but they're definitely going to be there. Tongariro Crossing is for sure. I think we're doing one in the Pinnacles as well, in the Coromandel, and some other options. So if you want to have the challenge of a Bright Hike, or you just want to spend being challenged by me, I think it's called Tap Love, not sure. Then the opportunity is there. Yeah, and it's not just an ordinary hike, put it that way.
No, definitely not. And that's going to be in November. It's still definitely November.
November, December time, I think. That's when it's been penciled in for. So that's what I'm aiming for.
So we'll pop your website link in with the Okay, cool.
Yeah. I've also got we'll put the website in, the link for that. We can also offer people, because you talked about the mandalas as well at the beginning. If anyone wants a Reiki-infused mandala, some shamanic healing delivered to their inbox, then they can absolutely sign up for the Reiki-infused colouring mandala as well. Why do I work with mandalas? Well, because they help us to create doorways to potentials, to the futures that we want. They actually help us when we work with mandalas, all explained in the thing that you get. They do help us to create the future that we want. So
Very cool. I love that. Oh, we could even
yeah.
stop on that.
Yeah.
Well, yes, we
sounds
can.
awesome. Yes.
Yeah, I teach people how to meditate with mandalas. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I
Hello.
share the
Yeah,
science.
yeah,
I share the
Okay.
science behind how mandalas heal mind, body, and create, help you manifest, basically, how they help you manifest the future that you want.
Brilliant. Bring it on. Sounds
Okay.
fantastic.
Thank you,
Thanks so
Carrie.
much, Carrie. We'll see you again for sure. And
Thank
see
you for
everyone.
having me. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.